Here we are at the first episode of Season 4 of the CIES Webinar Series, which is organized by CIES for Sports Studies. These conversations are a collaborative endeavor between CIES and the FIFA Master Alumni Association, which is what brings me here today. My name is Heather O'Keefe. I'm logged in today from Switzerland, and I'm a proud FIFA Master alumni from the 21st edition, which means I graduated in 2001. I'm also a revenue strategy and planning trainee at FIFA based in Switzerland. Now, CIES is the organizer of this series and is an independent study center located in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. It provides top-level education, research, and consulting services, and you can learn more about CIES, the CIES Football Observatory, and their numerous educational opportunities and programs, such as the FIFA Master and the FIFA CIES executive programs, in the links in the description of this webinar. All right, today we will be looking back at the fantastic World Cup that took place just a few months ago in Qatar. It really was an amazing, amazing tournament, and hard to believe it was only a few months ago. Now, rather than talk about the best goals, saves, penalties, all the pitch drama, we're going to be looking at the World Cup from a different perspective, from the eyes of the people behind the scenes who helped pull off this incredible tournament for the athletes and the fans and everyone involved in the tournament. They really brought the tournament to life and made it such a fantastic event for all of us to enjoy. I'm really excited to talk to them today. They all have fantastic journeys, roles, and responsibilities. So I think everyone here is in for quite the treat. So without further ado, the title of today's session is the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 as seen from the inside. Now, I want to introduce our panelists and start with the first of many thanks for their time and insights today. First, we have Mayad Al-Amadi. She is a FIFA Fan Festival Director working for the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy. She graduated from the FIFA Master in 2016. Welcome. Next, we have Zach Joseph, and he was a venue operations manager at Al Bayt Stadium, also working for the Supreme Committee for Delivery and Legacy. He was a graduate in 2006. And last but certainly not least is Eduardo Tavares, 2020 graduate from the FIFA Master and a consultant for football technology and innovation at FIFA. So welcome. Thank you all for being here today. Now, before I stop talking and we get to our panelists, one more thing to add. As custom with these sessions, the majority of our time will be dedicated to roundtable discussion. So I have questions prepared. We'll get a conversation going amongst the four of us. But please, those of you watching, feel free to submit your own questions within the chat, and we'll leave some time at the end to be able to get those audience questions. And right now, just as we start off, anyone watching, please just type in the chat where you're joining us from today. I'm sure we have a truly international audience, as is the nature of football and sports around the world. Okay, that was a lot of talking from me, and I want to get right into the topic. So I gave a very quick, 10-second introduction of each of you, but I'd like to have each of you introduce yourself. Where are you dialing in from today? And in your own words, what was your roles and responsibilities? What does someone of your title have to do at the World Cup? And we'll start off with Mayad, ladies first. So if the floor is yours, please introduce yourself to us.
Hello, Heather. Hello, everyone. It's nice to be with you. I would like to first thank CIS to choose me to be in this episode. It's really a pleasure to meet you and all the listeners here. And I would like to welcome my colleagues, Zach and Eduardo from FIFA. It was a pleasure working with you. I'll start with introducing myself. My name is Mayad Al-Amadi. I'm a 2016 alumni and also have been working with the SC for the longest time, for 10 years. So when you ask me, Heather, about my role, I took different roles during the preparation for this tournament. But today, my focus will be during the tournament, since this is our topic or our discussion. So as a FIFA Fan Festival Director, my primary roles and responsibilities were as any project manager or director. So the overall planning and execution of the FIFA Fan Festival, which includes managing the budget, developing the festival concept, and overseeing the logistics and operation of the event. So also with that comes managing the people you have and the professionals you have to work with in different aspects of the festivals, such as event planning, marketing specialists, technical staff, or even when we talk about volunteers. Then it comes the venue selection, and for us, it was not only working as a host country, but working very closely with FIFA and to match the goals and the visions of the two leaderships, and then bringing it to life. So venue selection and design, where we had to select venues and for the festival and overseeing the design of each festival space, including the layout of the stage, including the tents, and all other facilities. Also, I've been working on the marketing and promotion, which was one part of the whole tournament. So how we do our own plans and then integrate it to the overall plans and promotion of the tournament. The entertainment program, as we've seen, because for this time, the FIFA decided to make it a festival, not a fan fest, which you do all the, you show people your culture, your music, your food, not only the 64 matches that were broadcasted live. So creating and organizing and selecting those performers, organizing cultural activities, or creating this engaging experience for the fan. And the most important thing, working on all of this would not be possible if you don't think about the safety and security of the place you are working in. So ensuring the safety and security of all this, the fans and staff that are working in the festival, which includes coordinating with law and emergency services, developing emergency responses, and implementing security protocols like all other international events. Also, we had a pleasure of working with so many sponsors, FIFA sponsors. So managing those sponsors, the stakeholders relation, and ensuring that all the obligations that were met, such providing all the brand promotional opportunities for them at the festival. So overall, my primary goal was as a film festival director was to create this unforgettable experience for the fans, promoting the World Cup in Qatar through a fun, engaging festival, and showcase that the host country has a rich culture and hospitable culture, while providing a very safe and secure environment to all of attendees. And I think, saying all of this, I proudly say we've managed to deliver all those promises that we promised the world. And as you say, Heather, it was an amazing tournament in the eyes, not only in the eyes of the Middle East, and the eyes of all the whole world.
I had the pleasure of going to the fan festival for one evening. I was in Qatar just for 4 days. And I mean, you accomplished all of that. It was so much fun. There was a local DJ from the region. There was an artist that flew in from Peru, people from all over the world, flags from everywhere. So, I mean, it was really, really fun. And I was there with my dad, and we just had a fantastic time. So thank you personally.
Thank you, Heather.
And also, I mean, just explaining you were responsible for everything. That was not a to-do list. I mean, that was a to-do book of things that you had to accomplish. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more about what a day looked like once you were in the middle of the tournament. So thank you for that introduction. Now we'll transition it from the fan festival into the stadiums, and I'm going to hand it over to Zach. If you could also please introduce yourself and explain what are the primary roles and responsibilities of a venue operations manager.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, CIES, for organizing this. My name is Zach Joseph. I'm from the 6th edition, so a long, long time ago. I graduated in 2006. I moved to Qatar not as long as Miyad. Of course, she's from Qatar. To this week, it's been 9 years since I moved here.
Wow.
Eventually, my role was based in Al Bayt Stadium, but when I was hired by Supreme Committee in 2014, I was hired as a cluster manager looking at stadiums. So very similar to Miad, had similar responsibility, but related to stadiums. At that point, in 2014, 6 out of the 8 stadiums were in design phase, some in early construction. 2 stadiums, it's really funny. So I can't believe it's been so long. 2 stadiums, I was in meetings where we were deciding the locations where to build it in Doha. So it was that long ago. My general role over the years has been event planning, venue operations, but with Supreme Committee, it was a different role. So I was working with architects and engineers of various stadium projects, looking mainly at requirements, FIFA compliance during construction, and also looking at legacy aspects for Qatar post-World Cup. So for the World Cup, I was part of the venue management team overlooking Al Bayt Stadium. So Al Bayt Stadium, I know we'll talk about it more later, but had the honor of opening the World Cup. So it was the first chance for people in the world to see Qatar, what we're talking about. So we opened the World Cup and we had 9 matches going all the way to the semifinals. Brief venue management role, very similar to Miad's. It's all about event planning, coordination, dealing with on-site implementation, dealing with stakeholders, etc. So our main role was, of course, we had a fantastic experts and team in place for each stadiums, but my role within the venue management team was sort of coordinating, arbitration, and managing as such. Okay, I think we'll go more into the Al Bayt aspect, I think, during the session.
Yes, definitely. That's incredible that you were at meetings. Where are we going to put these stadiums to then being at Al Bayt, hosting the opening match of the World Cup? That is quite the journey, and I can't wait to get further into it. And then lastly, I'll hand it over to Eduardo, who we go from the fan festival and we're in Qatar, then we go to the stadium, and now you were fully on the pitch in the middle of the action. So please, what were you doing at the World Cup, and why did I see you on TV a few times?
Thank you, Heather. It's a pleasure to be here, also to share the floor with Miad and with Zach. Thank you to CIES for the invitation to this event. So yeah, I'll gladly give an overview of the role that I had. As you mentioned, Heather, I had some prominence in some occasions, but in the end of the day, it was a role very similar to the ones from Miad and Zach, happening behind the scenes. So my role at the World Cup was FIFA Technology and Innovation Venue Manager. So essentially responsible for all the technologies that are implemented by FIFA during the World Cup. So this includes the more famous ones such as VAR, goal line technology, semi-automated offside, and now also connected ball. So that's something that FIFA launched for the first time after having trialed it at the Arab Cup 1 year before the World Cup. As some of you might have heard already, FIFA was using a connected ball to facilitate offside decisions and also to have additional information, to have additional data on ball movements. And that is something that I was including responsible for at my venue. So I was at a venue similar to Zach. I was in charge for Khalifa International Stadium and all the matches that were happening there. And essentially what my role there was working with a team of several providers from different companies, including Hawkeye, Kinexon, Kyron Higo. They're all technology companies that provide these technologies that I mentioned, VAR, goal line technology, SAOT. And what I had to do in my role is to ensure that these technologies are implemented in a way that is following the standards that FIFA has set. And so it was also quite a lot of pressure, of course, because if anything goes wrong with goal line technology or with VAR, that can have quite a significant impact on the match. So I was always on my toes. But yeah, that's essentially my role. And then I'm sure, as Zach was saying, that we'll delve into further detail as we go into the next questions.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, certainly no pressure when it comes to VAR decisions and goal line technology. I'm sure all of us tuned in today are football fans and have been frustrated with a VAR decision, even when they're right. We're like, oh no, they can't have been offsides, but they were. So no pressure there. So thank you all for that great introduction. And whenever I meet someone new and I hear about their job title and it fascinates me, such as all three of you, I always want to know, what does it really look like? What is 24 hours in the life of a venue operations manager? What does that mean? During the middle of the World Cup, I can imagine that it means not a lot of sleep for the three of you during that tournament and in the weeks leading up, and quite a lot of on-the-fly decision-making and change of plans and adapting and working with diverse teams, and a lot of fulfillment throughout the day, I'm sure. So I think, kind of same question to each of you, but what did a day look like if you're in a stadium? What's match day -1, the day before the match day? Eduardo, what does that 90 minutes, maybe 120 plus minutes look like? And then Mayad, to you, I mean, the fan festival never slept every single day. It was basically a match day where you guys had to be on and prepared. So I would love to just know, what did you do in a day? So I think we'll reverse the direction now, and Eduardo, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, so the group stage was very intense because essentially we had matches every second day. So just one rest day, which was not a rest day because it was preparation and debrief from the previous match and preparation for the next match. So it was quite intense in the group stage. Non-match days, essentially what my role was mainly for the preparation, for lots of testing, for having backup solutions in case the first solution does not work. Attending match coordination meetings. So these are meetings with the teams, with the national teams that are playing in our stadium, and also people from the venue, ensuring that the teams are aware of what they're provided at the venue, and also doing a team familiarization. So normally this is an opportunity for the teams to come to the stadium and to familiarize with the pass at the stadium, and also with the setup. And that's something that I was responsible for, ensuring that the teams, the analysts of the teams, the coaches, the doctors were aware of all of these technologies that are provided at the World Cup, because obviously the World Cup is providing quite a high standard, especially compared to some lower leagues. And so that was my role of introducing the teams to that on non-match days. Then on match days, it got a bit more intense. So essentially we have a countdown list, which starts usually around 8 hours before the match. So I was lucky in my venue that I didn't have any early kickoffs, but some colleagues of mine that had the similar or the same role in a different stadium had to get up 5 a.m., 6 a.m., sometimes for matches in the early afternoon. And that involved several steps. So starting 8 hours before, ensuring that the radio communications are working, ensuring that the VAR is in position, the backup VAR is in position, testing goal line technology. So this was also quite interesting because the testing of the goal line technology was also done with the referees. So as soon as the referees arrive, I had to make sure that they receive the watches. So some of you might be more familiar with this technology, but it's essentially a watch that the referee is wearing during the game, and whenever the ball fully crosses the line, then it starts vibrating and a goal message pops up. And that's something that we were testing before the game. We were testing that the VAR screen was working in case there was an on-field review, and the communication between the VAR and the main referees, and also between the main referee and the linesman, that was working. So essentially, we were following a very strict checklist all the way up until, I would say, 1 hour before the game. That's when we can relax for about an hour. And then when the game starts, we have to be on spot again. So Heather, that's, as you mentioned, we had quite a fortunate position. So I had quite a fortunate position during the matches, which was just on the fourth official bench. So I had a quite exclusive view to the pitch, but which sometimes also, of course, comes with a lot of pressure. and responsibility, because I had to make sure that all of the technologies were working. In case there is an on-field review of the referee, making sure that the screen is working, making sure that the communication systems are working, and just being on top of that. Another thing is the semi-automated offside. So as I was saying earlier, we had connected balls that have technology, a small chip inside the ball, and these balls are linking to our offside system to identify the moment of the pass quicker. And here, sometimes it was a bit worrying for us, something that I didn't think about initially, but it's a very simple job in essence, but making sure that the balls that have the technology don't get mixed up with the balls that don't have technology, because that's sometimes the case that, I mean, it is the case that the teams during warm-up, they use balls that are not connected. And so I always had to make sure that after the warm-up, they take all the balls back into the changing room and ensuring that no football goes on the pitch that doesn't have that technology. And yeah, so that's during the 90 minutes, just being on my toes and being ready for on-field reviews, being ready for replacements. Essentially, it's a role which involves a lot of contingency planning in case things go wrong. Luckily, at our stadium, things went quite all right. So I had quite a relaxed time, even though I think my friends always said that I look very serious when I was appearing on TV. But yeah, it was a very fortunate position to be in for sure.
Amazing. And I think we have a photo. Yeah.
Yeah. So during the substitutions, that was always a moment, and some goal celebrations, being right in the middle of it. It was sometimes a bit tricky because I was always wearing a headset, and my colleagues, which were on the other side of the headset, were letting me know once I was on TV, and then it was more difficult to keep a straight face. But it was quite an interesting experience for sure.
That's amazing. I mean, so many skills at play in the 8 hours and then the 90 minutes of the game. I mean, detail-oriented, making sure you have the right balls, the awareness of the technology, how everything works, amazing organizational skills. I think it's really fascinating, the walkthroughs with the teams the day before. As you mentioned, they come from different nations and leagues, so different familiarity with that technology. So communication, cross-cultural communication, really all coming together. That's fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing. Now I'll transition, so we'll go from the pitch out a little bit further. So Zach, venue operations manager, day of the match, day before the match, what are you up to? How are you running around getting things prepared?
Yeah, similar to Eduardo, I think all stadiums had this hectic schedule. Like we had something like 7 matches in 2 weeks. So you're talking about a match every other day. But for me, for Bayt, because we opened the World Cup, it was even more intense. Let's say from August, when we started installing the aerial system for the opening ceremony. So if anyone who saw the opening ceremony would have seen a lot of flying elements, a lot of lighting. So all these things we started 3 months before. It was very tricky because installing something across the stadium on top of a pitch, we had to make sure that we don't damage the pitch, because end of the day, whatever we plan, FTI or media or competition, if the pitch is gone, it doesn't work. That's the end of the World Cup. So this was very tricky. Many meetings, arguments, because installing that system was very complicated. It took nearly 2.5 months. And then we're talking about an opening ceremony where a cast and crew of 1,000+ people involved. So we're talking about rehearsals on the pitch. It was really tricky. So the best thing for us was a year before the World Cup, Qatar had the full test. Let's say in the country, the FIFA Arab Cup was held in Qatar. So Bayt especially had the opening and the final for the Arab Cup. So we did a similar sort of intense opening ceremony, final. So we kind of knew what we were into, although it wasn't exactly the same thing, but at least we knew how to take care of the pitch, but then make sure that we have a mind-blowing opening ceremony for the world. So yes, the match was opening match of the World Cup, but the first thing that the world saw was the opening ceremony. So going to the match day, so we had the opening match. So typically, like Eduardo, we do have the typical match day -1 meetings. The only difference for me is, as venue management, we had to coordinate with all the stakeholders. So I'm talking about dealing with the state police, protocol, competition, media, even FTI. It is a tricky one. Even like people don't see it, but maybe we took like 3 days of meetings to decide where to put the cabling for the FTI in Bayt, for example. So the typical match day, it's like I'm in the stadium 10 hours before kickoff. So let's say for a 7 p.m. opening match, 7 a.m., I'm in the stadium. Especially the first match, I'm sure all stadiums, people would have been there early. Also, we are eager to get it kicked off. Because of the preparation, we sort of were, because of Arab Cup, we were sort of prepared, let's say, in a sense. But in the end of the day, World Cup is a World Cup. There's no other event as big as the World Cup. So a typical day on the morning of the match is like we are already prepared. So it's always last minute checks, like Eduardo said, checklists. Things can go wrong. We know it. So we don't take anything for granted. So it's checking everything to the minute. Like we have each function who have their managers checking things, but then we are overseeing things. So and we expect things to go wrong. So in the background, where spectators never see things, but there are things going wrong. So it's just checking every single thing because the event is live. There's no second chance. And once we had the first match, it was kind of easy for us. The only thing for Bayt was we had the opening ceremony, so we had a lot of decommissioning of the opening ceremony installation. So it was very intense going from the first match to the second match, and going forward from there, we had like 9 match days. It was always match day and match day -1 the following day. Stadium kind of worked like an autopilot, I would say, after the second match day. So yes, sleepless nights, long hours, but I had a team who enjoyed what they're doing. So they're passionate about football. They're passionate about working in events. So that's what it is. So end of the day, I think it was a great event, but I think people did have fun working in it.
That's awesome. And I mean, great to hear that your whole entire team at the stadium was in a position for things to run smoothly after the first couple of matches and work together as a team. And I also like talking about the Arab Cup and using that as an opportunity to test things out. I'm reminded of the quote, like practice makes perfect. I think if any athlete or anyone who's been a part of something knows that you have to practice. You can't just expect to deliver. So if that's the Arab Cup the year before, or even these contingency plannings and checks throughout the day, just to make sure that everything's ready to go. So important. Yeah. All right, now I'll hand it over to Mead. So you didn't have any match days or match day -1. Every day was a party and a festival at the Fan Fest. So how did you manage that month long of different artists coming in and thousands and thousands of fans coming every day? What did that look like for you throughout the month?
Heather, let me first tell you that people from stadium operation, those are people that limit our creativity, let's say, because they're like concerned about the pitch, I don't know what. So a lot of the fan experience thing that we wanted to do, and the pitch where Zach is like, oh, the grass, oh, people, this down, no, the match, I don't know what. Like those conflicts happened like for 8-9 years we were working on that. So I think myself and Jack, we know it's in every event you will have also to it's external stakeholder, but also internal stakeholders, how you convince others and how you will utilize the space you want, and what's the minimum damages you will do, because a lot of it is give and take in the event field. So for me, it was, I think, for us, I was like thinking, because as a Qatari, it was a dream for us to host this World Cup. But then working on it every day, it was like, is it really happening? Is this really ending? It was, every day was magical for me. I was blessed of having a really, like a really professional team. I think some of them, they're hearing us now. They were really working very hard into delivering this amazing experience. We used to, with that event, we used to do 3 hours before a briefing session before we open, and then after the closing at 2 p.m., 2 a.m. in the morning, then we have a debriefing after at 3 o'clock. So it was, then they have to come in the morning at 8. So they worked very hard in delivering what we've seen, the most successful FIFA Fan Fest. But for myself, I was responsible for overseeing all the operation aspect in the festival. I made sure our operation were going according to the plan, and along with the team of the professionals, we overcome a lot of daily challenges that happens. Either in the entrance and the gates, any operation failure that happens, and our technical issues that happens on site, a lot of the things that happen out of our hand, deliveries and all of that, because of the rush hours or the timings. And then being in the central of Doha was something also, the closure of a Corniche and all those procedures that put together, it made it a bit a little bit difficult, but with the team we overcome a lot of those challenges. On a match day, we were focusing on ensuring that everything is running smoothly, monitoring attendance, keeping close eye and safety and security of everyone that was in the fan festival, again, and enjoying the match or any entertainment that happens between the match. On an unmatch day, my focus was on the entertainment plan and marketing FIFA Fan Festival to be attractive to those people who wants to have fun and to come and see their singers performing in our huge stage. So those are the main things that we were doing, and likewise all other venues. A lot of those challenges we solved it in a venue level. Some of those challenges has gone to a more senior level to be solved, and that's how we use to solve our problems or whatever comes up on a daily basis.
Fantastic. And I'm sensing some themes too. I mean, all three of you had to do so much in a day and have different skills. So Miad, you're talking about, escalating major decisions or dealing with traffic issues and transportation logistics, to then going out and marketing the event. So you're creative and analytical and working with various people all in one day. And I mean, Zach and Eduardo, you also just touched on that. The variety, I think, is really special of skills and problems that you have to solve, and the variety of people internally, externally to deal with in any given day is likely very challenging and fulfilling. And on the topic of fulfillment, I'm sure for each of you, working at the World Cup was a dream come true. Miad, you were just using those words, and really quite a surreal moment of years of hard work to then have that wow moment. Am I really here? Pinch me. Is this real life? And Zach, you've alluded to this several times, but I mean, your stadium had the opening ceremony, so all eyes were on you. I mean, I was watching at home, and all of a sudden Morgan Freeman's on the pitch, and this is incredible. So, I mean, talk about pressure with the whole world at the first moment of a highly anticipated tournament. And I think, I want to hear all about what that moment was like for you, and perhaps we can start off with a video that gave us a taste and memory of what that opening ceremony was all about. Absolutely incredible scenes. So fun to see that memory. So yeah, Zach, what was that like for you? Incredible, I assume.
Yeah, as in, I can tell you to keep the secrecy of the opening ceremony was, as in, don't get me wrong, we had a fantastic ceremonies team handling everything. As in, from our side, we were only making sure that things went smoothly. But the rehearsals, yes, Morgan Freeman coming into the stadium, I think everyone did well to keep it secrecy, including my own family. Like, I did not mention anything to anyone. End of the day, people who saw it either at the stadium or on TV, it was a spectacular opening ceremony. Yes, so as I mentioned before, a lot of rehearsals happened before this. Things had to be kept also away from the media, like social media. We had to brief our venue teams, who were professional, of course, but not to take videos or photos and post it. So, yeah, it was incredible. Like, as in, it's like I told you, the World Cup, the kickoff, that's of the World Cup. But I think the opening ceremony, the whole musical element of it, the lights. I don't know if you saw the aerial shot of the stadium. It was quite incredible.
Yeah, fantastic moment. And I'm sure to be a part of, you must just feel so proud of yourself and the entire team that was able to pull that off in such a complex and project that worked out so well and the whole world got to enjoy.
Yeah, as in Al-Bayt literally means home in Arabic. And I think the entire nation of Qatar, the Qataris, I think they should be proud of what they delivered at the end. Not just the opening match, the entire tournament in the end.
I didn't know that it meant home. That's really cool. And it's the perfect segue to Matt. I have the same question for you. You mentioned you're from Qatar. What is that like to welcome the world to your country, to your home? Amazing.
I've been in also a discussion in Milan with the FIFA Master class this week, and they've asked me the same. It's very Heather. This question is very emotional because years of preparation, years of media attacking my country and doubting our ability, doubting our everything. Like from day one, since Qatar won the bid, it wasn't an easy or smooth journey for us. But it's like I'm very proud that we could show the people or everyone how we can do things our own way. And I'm really glad that everyone that visited Qatar could take something not only about Qatar but about the Middle East. At least we could change some of the wrong stereotypes that was in the media before. At least we will. They've seen how hospitable. I remember people around Al-Thumama, the neighbors in Al-Thumama stadium. They were giving people sandwiches, coffees while they were walking to the stadium, and welcoming them to Qatar, welcoming them and telling them about our culture. I see some of the old ladies, Qatari ladies, wearing their traditional clothes and walking around the stadiums to show people. It was something amazing, you know, for me. Like all those big moments that happen not only in the fan fest, outside the fan fest. I mentioned a funny story. I visited Egypt after the tournament. So every time I go somewhere, they ask me, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "From Qatar." "Oh, you don't pay anything. It's on us." I'm like, "You made us proud." I'm like, "Oh, that's how people feel. That's how Arabs feel." And I'm sure everyone here felt the amazing in their own ways. You know, some of them they talk about fan experience. Some of them talk about the amazing stadiums we had, the weather, hospitality, the culture. Everything made it different. I think for Qataris and for people living in Qatar, it's something it will stay for life for us and for our kids. I'm really proud of what we've done, the legacy that the leadership supported us from the beginning, and then it's the legacy that will stay after this tournament is a huge legacy for the country and then for the Middle East. And I'm really blessed to be part of this.
That's incredible. And I think, you know, when I was asking the question, thinking of those big moments that are full of pride, but also it's those small moments during the tournament, like you say, someone offering coffee and sandwiches out, you know, out front of their house. That's such a small thing, but I think that's really the beauty of these tournaments and these opportunities for the world to come together, is to share those small, meaningful moments. It's not just the big fireworks, and you know, there's so many ways to remember.
It's the smiles on everyone's faces that make my day and make me sleep the 2-3 hours you know.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. Eduardo, tough to follow up that response from Mayad, but what were those amazing moments for you, the pinch me moments that you had throughout the World Cup?
Yeah, thank you, Heather. I think obviously for Zach and for Mayad, I think it was a lot more preparation, or a lot more years before the World Cup. Whilst for us, of course, at FIFA, it's always a 4-year period from World Cup to World Cup. So it's a bit less preparation. And so understanding also that for Mayad, the emotional connection that is attached to it is on a different level. But for me, it was very special as well. And I think for our entire FIFA Football Technology and Innovation Department, because there are a lot of technologies that we've been working on the 4 years ahead of the World Cup, trying to develop them, and seeing them at the World Cup being put into practice, helping the referees, helping the fans to understand decisions. I think that's something that I felt proud of. For example, at my stadium, we had one very famous, or for maybe German fans or Spanish fans, infamous situation of where the Japanese team scored a goal with a ball that was not over the line. But on TV, or for some fans, it appeared as if it had crossed and should have been not counted as a goal. But having the VAR cameras in the stadium, that was able to prove that it was indeed a goal. And that's something where I was happy to see that the work that we've done was able to help football, and in this case, Japan, with the right decision. And that's something that I was proud of seeing the semi-automated offsides technology, the connected ball, the one also more famous situation of the Portugal goal, where I think it was a cross coming in, and Ronaldo, a cross coming in from Bruno Fernandes, and Ronaldo seemed like he touched it, and then the ball went into the goal. And in the end, because of the technology that we have in the ball, we were able to detect that there was no touch by Cristiano, and therefore the goal was not counted as his. and instead counted it as Bruno Fernandes. So that's where we see our technology being put into action. I think, of course, there's always going to be complaints from people. Whenever there was a decision against the teams of my friends, I was always the first one they reached out to. But for me to see that work that our department put into for the last or for the 4 years ahead of the World Cup, and seeing that come into practice and working well, that was something that I was proud of.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember both of those instances quite well, and a few memes and photos being shared in WhatsApp groups afterwards. So yeah, pretty exciting that was your stadium. You were in the middle of that mayhem.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, I'm going to ask one more question to our group here. Anyone following along, please, this is another opportunity to put any questions you might have in a chat. So real quick, to each of you, I mean, you lived the dream, you did something amazing, but how did you get to that position, to have your title, to be where you were? What were the skills that you developed, the experiences that really helped you get to the point where you're working at a World Cup? We'll start with Eduardo. We'll reverse the order.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Heather. So from my side, it's a bit of it's going to sound lame, but since I'm 18 or even younger, I knew that I wanted to work for FIFA because of the passion that I had for the game and for the impact that the game can have on people and on the world. And so essentially all the steps that I've taken since were with that objective in mind, and always working in football from the start. Straight after graduating high school, I started coaching, did my UEFA B license, and was coaching for a year. Then at the same time as I was studying, continued coaching, and that was how I got into the football industry. And then I was lucky enough to get an internship at Chelsea Football Club. Again, starting from the bottom, working my way up, and being there for 3 years at Chelsea. And then after that, doing the FIFA Master. And the FIFA Master obviously was a course that I also was familiar with for a while. I think I wanted to do it as a bachelor already, but that was not possible. And so I also worked my way to get there. And then, of course, the FIFA Master for me, it was in the end a bridge to reach this position where I am right now within FIFA, starting as a trainee again, and now working as a consultant for FIFA. So I think the path of everyone is going to be different, but I think it's important to know what you want to do, and then to work your way there. And I mean, starting from the bottom and continuing. Amazing.
I mean, relating it back to football, but you think of athletes, they want to lift that World Cup trophy. That's a dream as a child. And then what do you have to do to get there? So yeah, setting out that plan. And Mayad, it maybe looked a little, I mean, Eduardo said it all looks different for each of us, but you being from Qatar and then the World Cup being awarded there, what did the journey from, or, how did you end up where you ended up?
Okay, then for me, I studied computer science for my bachelor. So, and then through my career, there have been several unexpected turns because I didn't know I didn't like my degree. So then a coincidence working in BN Sport, where it started when I knew that I have women have an equal space or equal opportunity in the world of football, and the business of football. That's where I started working with BN Sport and knowing more about football. But then to enhance this knowledge, I decided I met Sarah, who is a FIFA also employee. I met her in Brazil when we were doing an observation program, and she told me about the FIFA Master. And during that time, I was here in the SC in 2014. So the FIFA Master Network has been an incredibly valuable resource for mentorship through all my career. I have been able to seek guidance from my experienced professionals, professors, from even my friend. And I have also been able to offer the same insight and knowledge to others in the network. So I'm grateful to be part of such a supportive community like FIFA Master. I have so many colleagues also working with us from different years. Zach, Raleigh, and all of them, they've been valuable team members and colleagues here in the FIFA World Cup, and also to myself. Yeah, that's from my journey and my career. And after the World Cup, I know that this is what I love. This is what not so many people are lucky to work in what they're passionate for, but I consider myself one of the lucky people who got the support from their leadership, a woman that got the support from the leadership to work in a sport that is considered to be a bit male dominant. And then I know for sure that I will want to continue in the same path.
That's amazing. From computer science to fan festivals, and yeah, we have to just ride those unexpected turns of life, and they can lead to beautiful places. Zach, to you, you were just mentioned Mayad's response. So what was your journey to this
Yeah, so
moment?
that's interesting. I don't know about Miyad about computer science. Myself, I am a graduate of mathematics and economics, but I always knew that I was always interested in event organization, planning. So I also stumbled upon through a colleague about the FIFA Master. This was way back in 2002. I had applied for it, didn't get in the first attempt, but I made it to the 6th edition. For me, let's say the FIFA World Cup first experience was when we were in Neuchâtel. The Germany World Cup was happening, and we had I think the first world gathering. That was the one in the German World Cup. Brazil-Australia match in Munich was my first ever World Cup match, and that's where I've never seen like live like Brazilian supporters and even Australian supporters. I've never seen that kind of atmosphere, and that's when I think I decided this is where I want to work in. Like I didn't think about FIFA or World Cups, but in football is what I thought. And thanks to let's say the FIFA Master, a direct sort of after the graduation, I was employed by AFC, Asian Football Confederation in Kuala Lumpur. So I think I was very fortunate that I was employed immediately after I sort of finished graduation. So I worked 3 years in Malaysia in competitions at that point. And then I moved then to Dubai in UAE, where I worked in the league, where they were setting up the club licensing and things like that. So, and then when I got the chance to come to Qatar in 2014, I didn't like even think about it. As in, it was 9 years before a World Cup, coming to a country. It was an interesting role. And thanks to even Supreme Committee, they made sure that like we were also kept sort of aware of events. So after I was employed, I was able to go to Brazil and work in Russia for the World Cups. So it was an incredible experience to bring to Qatar. So yeah, that's now I think there's no turning back, as in the World Cup's over. But yeah, before you ask what's next, yeah, I think we are still enjoying that 1 month, hectic 1 month, but the 9 years was incredible.
That's amazing. And I love that story of that moment at the Germany-Australia match where it all just clicks and you're like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then to have done that at a World Cup, I mean, that's a great full circle. But like you said, that's the story doesn't end here. It keeps going and whatever the next chapter is. All right, we have just a few minutes left, but we do have some questions coming in from everyone viewing. So, Eduardo, this one is for you. If there was a cyber attack on a VAR system during the match, it could result in the wrong result. Did you have any situation or protection systems in place to prevent this from happening?
Yeah, I can confirm that we didn't have any situation like this.
Good.
Luckily, at the World Cup, I think it's something that, of course, I mean, we always have to be aware of and have contingency plans. I think the good thing is that the systems that we have in place, firstly, they have several different systems that are connected as one in the end. So I would assume it's not so easy to break into all of them at the same time, because even if, let's say, the VAR monitor, for example, the screen would be somehow cyber attacked, there would still be the radio communications of the referees to the VAR. So I mean, it's something that is a bit more difficult, I think. But of course, I mean, we've seen that cyber attacks are happening and are a serious matter in, I think, other industries. But I think the good thing in our role in our area is that we have backup solutions for pretty much everything, and we conduct testing for everything just before the match. And in case something would happen, I mean, cyber attack is one thing. Another thing is, for example, internet shortage, electricity shortage. We always have backup solutions for that in place.
Awesome. That contingency planning shining. All right. And one last question, which I think is a great way for us to wrap up here. Just want to know your feeling after the last match or event at your respective venue. So in a few words, what was it like when it was all said and done? Zach, start with you.
Yeah, so our last match was the semifinals in France and Morocco. And I do remember telling the venue teams, my colleagues, that this is it, right? As in, all the preparations, it'll be over. Like tonight, it'll be over. I told them to enjoy it. It is a big match. I think the Moroccans, I think if I had to choose one team, yes, Argentina won the World Cup. They were incredible. But if I have to choose one team, Morocco, nobody saw it coming. As in, the fans were incredible. I still don't know how Doha managed to keep all these people in the city, and we didn't have any incidences. But coming back to your question, I think the match was straightforward, but I do remember telling everybody in the morning that it was a 10 o'clock kickoff. Enjoy the day. As in, this is it. And we've all done well. We had 8 matches before this. We are confident that it'll go well. So yeah, it was bittersweet that everything was over, but also kind of relieved that we managed to finish like 9 matches in a venue with the whole world watching.
Amazing. Savor every moment. Eduardo, for you in just a few words, that feeling after the last match.
Yeah, same as for Zach. I think I'm not gonna lie, I was quite happy to have it all done because it was very intense. But at the same time, as the preparations were going through on match day and as the match was coming to an end, there was that feeling, okay, now that's it. So all of those years of preparations, they're finishing now. And so that was sad. And I think especially, of course, a few days afterwards, you realize what you just went through and what rushed through, like what felt maybe a few days, but was in reality a month of World Cup. So it was a mixed feeling, but for sure, also happy to having it done and having it done successfully.
Perfect. And last but not least, Mayad, for you, the last fan festival, the last visitors to the country.
I woke up in tears and I couldn't stop that day. It was all in tears. I didn't know, and I see left. I see my bosses crying. I see right. I see all my employees, colleagues crying. Like it was very emotional seeing our dreams come to an end, and we couldn't wish for a better ending for this tournament. It was a great performance for an Arab country like. Zach said, Morocco, they were like the days when we have Morocco on Fan Festival, it was like magical. They were everywhere singing, dancing. We were dancing with them too. And then Argentina fans everywhere, like they have fans from all around the world and everyone celebrating in their own style. And then for me, like I'm still walking in the cloud. It's not clicking that this is over, but yeah, thanks God it's over with a huge success, with a huge legacy. And then I think this will not be the end. Doha will still host so many events, and we hope we show the world how can we organize events, and how can we show the world a different side of the events.
Amazing. What a wonderful response, and I think the perfect place to leave things. Thank you to the three of you so much for sharing your stories. I feel very inspired to get into the rest of my work day, and as I'm working on the Women's World Cup just a few months down the line in Australia, New Zealand, like how exciting. And I hope to be there and be able to share stories with the three of you in just a few months' time. So thank you so much for your time, for your insights, for your stories. Thank everyone who attended and listened to us for the last hour. I hope you are equally inspired to forge ahead in your careers in sports, to do in the work, to be persistent, and to make those dreams come true. If you enjoyed today's sessions, you're encouraged to review the library of videos from the previous 3 seasons of the CIES Webinar series that cover a variety of sporting topics. So we've got World Cup, Olympics, and everything in between. Many of these series and webinars also feature more FIFA Master alumni. And if you want to hear more from the FIFA Master, you can check out their YouTube channel and review the Latin American webinar series. Now, the next webinar series for CIES will be in about a month. We're still in the process of finalizing the date and getting another list of great speakers, although I don't think it's possible to beat the 3 of you, but we can try. If you'd like to stay tuned in for the next session, the best way to do so is by following CIES across social media. And with that, one last thank you to the 3 of you for joining today. Thank you to everyone who listened to us for the last hour. I hope you found this very informative and interesting, and I certainly did. So have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.